You're muted, Rima.
Good morning. Good morning, John. It's good to see you. And welcome. Good morning to all the good folks in the session. I am Dr. Rima Vassar, and I serve as the chair of the MSU Board of Trustees. It's wonderful to see such a strong turnout for today's open forum. There are other trustees on this call. I want to make sure I acknowledge Trustee Dan Kelly. I think I see you. He is on the search committee and is also under the weather today on the mend. So Trustee Kelly, I do want to make sure that I give you an opportunity to say anything if you would like. I know that you are getting your dancing hip together.
Yeah, right. Yeah, thanks, Dr. Rima. Yep, good morning to everybody. It is, thank God, a listening session, so I intend to listen and not talk much, but I appreciate everybody showing up, so thank you.
And Trustee Dan Kelly is on the search committee formally, but I do want you to know that the other trustees on the board share my enthusiasm in thanking you for coming to take a moment to share with us your thoughts. We're also joined by representatives from the executive firm of Isaacson Miller, who are assisting in recruiting our 22nd president. Before we get started, I'd like to share a few thoughts with you. First, again, thank you for your willingness to give your time and attention to this very important search. Your commitment to MSU and its future is really apparent and very much appreciated. We are excited and grateful to work with you to forge a bright green future for our university. This is an exceptional institution, and we demand an exceptional leader. And so we look forward to having an inclusive process that provides ample opportunity for input as well as clear communication as the search progresses. A search of this nature necessitates confidentiality, but we are looking forward to engaging our community in these beginning stages to hear what is important to and what is on the minds of our Spartan community. The task of the search committee will be to consider your feedback as we conduct a thoughtful, engaging, and collaborative search. To that end, the purpose of today's session is for us to hear from you. We will hold additional open forums, which will provide more opportunities for the trustees on the search committee to hear from our community. With that, let me turn things over to colleagues from Isaacson Miller to quickly cover the ground rules.
I do want to let us know, John, before you jump in, that we are recording this session, so it will be available later. Thank you, John.
Great, thank you, Joanna. Good morning, everybody. We're just delighted to join MSU. You've always been a great institution, and we are confident you will be again, and you deserve the very best leadership. I'm going to do our very best to deliver for you. Today is a listening session. This is for you to say anything you want to us and to the board members here, including Dan, who's on the search committee, about what are the most important things about MSU you want to preserve, and there are things that must be preserved, so let us know what those are. And then over the next few years, 3, 5, maybe even longer, what do you most want to see MSU do better than it does today? That counts. And finally, if there are speculations about what kind of qualifications and experience you think someone must have to be in this role, and we're eager to hear those things as well. There are many people here, and several have already signed up to speak. So we would like to get as many people to be able to say their piece as possible. So if you would limit your comments to 2 to 3 minutes, we'd be grateful to you. And I think your friends here also on this webinar would be grateful as well. And if we have time, people can have more than one opportunity to speak. That's not a difficulty at all. We just want to make sure we get through all the folks who do want to speak and be able to hear. We're going to take very careful notes, but as Joanna said, it is recorded so we can go back and listen to what you've had to say. Eventually, these kinds of comments will make their way into a position profile and will help guide the search committee. So thanks very much. We are here strictly to listen to you. It's early in the search. We're not quite ready to answer questions or anything of that kind. This is your time to tell everybody exactly what you think. Thanks so much. Now, Joanna's going to walk us through first the people who signed up to ask questions, to make comments. And then after that, we'll look for any hand raise that goes up and call on you. Thanks. Joanna, take us away.
Sure. I apologize in advance for any mispronunciations. Please feel free to correct me. Dave LILAK.
Hi, I'm here. I
Oh.
actually I had not signed up to comment, so
Oh.
I'll get back on mute.
Apologies. Jack Lipton.
Not here, huh? Oh, no, there he is.
Hey, everybody. So I'm Jack Lipton. I'm chair of the University Committee on Academic Governance, which makes me an MSU faculty senator, and I serve on the steering committee. A couple of questions, and then I'll talk a little bit about the things we're looking for, since it is a listening session. One of the most important issues is that in the last 50 years, the faculty have had a significant representation on the search committee for the president since President Wharton, which had 58% of the search committee to be that were faculty members. I think it's really important to governance, based upon the resolution that was passed by the University Council, to be able to choose our own representatives for the search, because of issues relating to transparency and trust. And I would like to know what the plan is for the University Council resolution with respect to the Board of Trustees. That's my first question, and then I have a statement after that.
Well, why don't you go ahead with the statement, Jack?
Sure. So just to answer your questions as it relates to the qualities of a president, if you'd like to go through that first. I think it's important that this search is honest, transparent, and legitimate by having faculty serve among the members. I think the next president of MSU will need to demonstrate compassion, strength, and resilience. And whosoever is really honored with the opportunity to enter the presidential meat grinder that is MSU, as we have all seen over the past several years, they're going to have to be able to work with faculty and in shared governance and remain accountable. If the search results in a brittle leader, MSU is going to be harmed by the lack of diligence by not making sure that we have the appropriate people on this committee. The next president's going to have to respect the strength of shared governance at MSU and determine, and we're going to have to determine as faculty which of those are wise enough to partner with us. The faculty have most of the institutional knowledge and academic experience here, and I think that it's really important to respect that. While the Board of Trustees gets to choose, I think the faculty should be responsible for helping to rank and prioritize candidates. So I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Jack.
Yep.
I think the board is still composing the search committee. We did these sessions very early, Jack, because we wanted to get them in before commencement. And the board will have a committee, and I'm utterly confident that there will be senior members of the faculty on it.
Yes. I think it's important for those to be chosen by the faculty, the representatives, not by the board.
Firmly over my pay grade.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
So we'll figure it out. Thank you, though, for the question. It's a good question and the right one at this stage of things. But do you want to take us to our next contender?
Fayyaz Hussain.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello?
Yes, we have you registered to speak.
Well, I have been at MSU as a student and faculty for 35 years. And this is first time that I feel that there is a strange atmosphere. First, we went through this Larry Nassar thing. Then we were the victim of this COVID. And then finally, random shooting. So what I see in my classes, I teach large classes in Center for Integrative Studies in Social Sciences, 600-700 students every semester. Students don't want to come to classes. This is such a difference that I feel and see. And my point is that we need to seriously find the leadership that can bring back the morale of the students and attraction of national and international students to come back to MSU, because in the long run, it is not something good for the institution that I love so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next up, we have Venkat Maturi.
Yes, Joanne, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have worked in MSU since 2018, and I work across the world, and also work with lots of higher education institutions. While all the qualities that we seek in a president, I think they're still relevant. I think what I sorely miss is seeing a leader who has global exposure. And I think even now and going forward as well, I think to be financially independent, MSU is going to rely a lot on international students. And I think a global exposure in the president, I think it will bring in the right outlook to the institution. It's just not about somebody who interacts through engagements, which are global. I think it would be good to have somebody who has lived around the world. And given that we have 160 nationalities on campus, it would be great to have a president who also is global in outlook. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wanda Lipscomb.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wanda Lipscomb. I'm in the College of Human Medicine, one of the health professional schools. I think it's really important that we have a leader who has experience in executive and administrative leadership. That experience can be broader than higher education, but someone who brings that sort of leadership acumen to the table. In light of all of the transitions that we are continuing to go through at MSU, an individual who has strong interpersonal and communication skills, and who can communicate with the multiple communities that actually comprise MSU. So not only the global community that the previous speaker talked about, but really individuals who can go into the heart and soul of the community of Michigan. Michigan is a very diverse state, from our very large urban centers to our very rural communities. And we hold like this really national position as we think about what we do with extension and all of the work that we do across the 17 academic colleges. We need a president who will have the skill set to have communication with those communities. I think it's very important that we have someone come into the position who will honor the strategic plan that was developed, who will take seriously the work that is being done in the area of diversity and inclusion. Someone who will hear the voices of the different individuals who make up Michigan State. So Dr. Lipton has talked about the faculty, a previous speaker about the students. Also, we should remember our alumni. And I hope that as we move forward, that the university will be more visible in its work and community. Too often people still see us as the ivory tower that sits in East Lansing. And we need a leader who understands the importance of really, collaborating in an active way with the community in order to address the many community problems that higher education is expected to address. So thank you for the opportunity to share.
Thank you.
Indrek Wickman.
Oh,
Indrek, I believe you're muted.
okay. I'm a professor of mechanical engineering. I've been here since 1986. And when I first came here, MSU was basically an institution that catered to the, let's call them the working class of Michigan. It was not meant to be the University of Michigan or kind of an elite Ivy place. It was a place that was open to the everyman. And its charter was specifically to the, basically the farming and the practical community, the kind that John Steinbeck talked about in Grapes of Wrath, you know, the Okie type, who couldn't afford to go to U of M or to Princeton or to Harvard or MIT or someplace like that, and could do well in life by going to a place like MSU. And I think over the years, I'm going to push back a little against this globalism. MSU has become a kind of a mishmash university like every place else that wants to be global this and global that. And we have 150 different nationalities. And what you really have, because in reality, MSU has two dominant nationalities that come here from, you know, parts of Asia, is just a kind of a, you know, an indistinct place where these people come here to try to get credentials, and, you know, they're sent by their very wealthy parents by these in this part of the world to come here. And that's very nice and all, but I just don't know that that has added to really to MSU's environment or atmosphere or its character in a way. It's just like every place else. And that just my final point would be that I think the emphasis should always be not on these administrative characters, like the previous speakers have said, that they have to get along and they have to meet with these people and those. I mean, that's understood. I think the emphasis should always be on quality, high quality of both faculty and students at the highest quality you can get, because that's what makes a university special. I mean, that's why Princeton is special. Their faculty are super good. The students are brilliant. And, you know, the more better students we have, even if there are fewer, the better that is. Final point, I think there's an absolute overemphasis on athletics. It seems like the athletic departments, and by the way, I was a collegiate athlete myself. The athletics department pulls the strings here. We've got a coach making $10 million a year or more. It's insane. And something has to be done. There has to be some pushback against that. And MSU is not a professional athlete training facility. And that mentality, I think, should be somehow diminished going forward. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Marisol Quintanilla.
Marisol, are you there? Perhaps we come back to Marisol. Go ahead.
That's our last registered speaker, John.
Okay, let's see if someone wants to raise their hand. We're certainly interested in hearing more comments.
We have Guo Chen.
Good, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for correctly pronouncing my name. It's usually pretty challenging. Yes. Sorry, I didn't register for speaking, but then I heard the last speaker. I felt that I really have to speak up. As an APITA, Asian Pacific American / Asian faculty member at MSU, who has taught and done research at MSU since 2006 and 2008. I felt that first I want to address the last person that said about this sort of international students and people from wealthy countries or sent by wealthy parents. I think that's a typical example of bias we have about our student bodies and even our faculty members. And we've learned from at least one case who is a victim of the shooting, who is a Chinese student. And we learned from the student that their parents are struggling financially. So this is an example of the diversity of international students at MSU. They're not all from wealthy families. And this is, to me, who has studied Asian countries for such a long time, who's particularly focusing on inequality issues. And this is surprising to me that a lot of the faculty really don't have a clear understanding of the world and how unequal their societies are, and how much we actually know about these different countries, their demographics, their societies, the families, their values. You know, the reason why we're seeing so many international students from certain countries is not just because they're rich, they have rich families. No. Of course, there are students who are from affluent families, but a lot of them are here because they want to learn, because their families and the students value education. And I think it should be great for MSU to continue to be open to these students. And to the greater outside world and to these different values and the great diversity of students. We should appreciate these people. And okay, the second part is what I think our president should be. I think so far, and first of all, I really was very surprised by the exit, the leaving of our former president, Stanley. I think he had done great work. So I think the next president should be someone who can continue to espouse these values, to be to not be fearful, to be courageous enough to continue to make transformations, especially continue to make efforts to transform this cultural issue at MSU. And we need someone who can continue the work of President Stanley and current interim President Woodruff, who have both done great work in many areas of transforming MSU's culture. We need someone who is not, I would like to use I'm going to quote from one president, that's MSU Board of Trustee members' words, who said that we need someone who's untainted. I think that's a good word to use to describe what kind of people we want. We want someone who has the expertise, experience, but most importantly, the courage. And I would add one more thing, that is the ability to influence others to do the same work. Because we cannot make any change if we are just here alone, one or two individuals. It's too heavy lifting. We need to have a leader who has just one extra quality on top of the qualities we've seen from the current one, the previous president, which is to be able to influence more people to make changes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's great.
Meghan Wilson. Oh, I believe.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Good morning. And thanks for having this listening session. I think I want to echo the point that the last speaker said, because I do believe that we need a president that will continue the strategic plan at least to 2030. We need some continuity of leadership. We've had Michigan State, I'm an assistant professor in political science, but a longtime Michigan resident, as I have lived here my entire life. And so as a leading institution in the state of Michigan, I think that Michigan State had a great strategic plan to 2030, but the school has seen so much transition over the last 20 years that we need some continuity. We need a leader that is going to stay. We need a leader that can build relationships with the communities and with the board. And I think it's just really important to have some kind of continuity. And so I would love for you all to find someone who has a moral obligation and commitment to the space in a way that we haven't seen before. The other thing is our endowment is being outpaced by every one of our peer institutions. And so we need someone who has a proven history of raising dollars, and not just for our athletic programs and not just for our engineering programs, but for the social sciences, for the humanities, for our College of Human Medicine, our College of Osteopathic Medicine. We need strategic dollars to these institutions so that they can continue to compete worldwide. And I think that there's a lot of things that we can do, but I think the capital investment needs to be there. Our students deserve better. Our undergrads deserve better. And our undergrads really do notice that there are differences, and they notice where we spend our money, and it's really not on them in a way that it should be. So thank you for the time. Good luck with this search, and looking forward to who the next leader of MSU will be.
Oh, thank you. We look forward to the search, and thank you for the good luck.
Dan DeSimone.
Hi. Whoops. How do I get my camera on? Oh boy, sorry. I'm not sure how to do that. I don't want to take. Okay. Thank you very much for taking my comments. I sit on the steering committee. I'm an at-large member, and I'm sorry that I was late. I was at the vice president for the OIE meeting. But I want to put in a plug, and I understand Jack Lipton already did, for letting the faculty, for the trustees to reconsider the proposal that was sent to you by University Council. I think it's really important for goodwill and to continue on the recent positive, I think, relationship between the Board of Trustees and our entire community. It's instrumental that all stakeholders have a voice on the search committee. And I understand that there will be maybe 3 to 4 faculty. Students and faculty are best positioned to recommend those individuals who will represent us. So I would ask the Board of Trustees, and I'll be talking to them at lunch on Thursday about this issue as well, that they reconsider the policy and the procedure we put forward. And if they feel that we need to addend it, that it's not efficient enough, that they let us know how, and we will go back and redo it. But very important. Thank you.
Thank you.
We don't have any other hands raised.
Okay. Let's pause here for a moment, though, to see if others have comments.
Fayyaz Hussain just raised his hand.
No, good. Okay. Fayyaz.
Yeah, I just want to respond to Professor Indrek and share a statement by another professor. I teach these large classes in Akers Hall, and in that room 137, there was a professor at MSU from biology. He used to come and I used to leave, and we talked. So one day I asked him, where did you go to for your undergrad? He said, I was an undergrad in 1970s at MSU. And here is what I want to share with everybody. He said, at that time, he used to work during summer and was able to generate enough money to pay for the 2 semesters, room and board. It was a surprising thing for me. And I know that we can't do that anymore, but we have to take into account what Indrek said, that this university was built for farmers and poor Michiganders, and that should remain one of the objectives of the new leadership. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you.
Lee June, I saw your hand up and down a little bit. Okay, I don't see Lee anymore. Dave, I'm surprised. Lee, hi, I hear you, see you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. There are several characteristics that come to mind. I'm Lee June, and I'm a professor in the psychology department and in the honors college. This is not an exhaustive list, but these are some of the things at the top of my list. I think the person needs to be experienced in higher education. I think the person should have demonstrated experience in administrative roles, such as a vice president, a dean, or president. I would like to see someone who has a proven, or we might say a measurable, diversity, equity, and inclusion track record of achievement in higher education. And that can be demonstrated by the person's current position and how diverse their staff is, and some of the achievements the person has made currently in that area. I think the person should have a management style that's collegial and one that respects a robust academic governance system that we have here. The person needs to be a great communicator, a good listener, and understands and respects both domestic and international issues that we face in higher education. And I would also like to see, and I think we can assess that by references, et cetera, that that person has high respect and value at their current place of employment. Obviously, the person needs to be visionary. And I think given Michigan State is both a land grant and an AAU university, the person should be able to understand what land grant means in the 21st century and also respects the research agenda. And then lastly, you know, the issue of tenure is often being questioned within higher education. And I would like to see someone who understands both the historical and contemporary role of the tenure system and values the tenure system, and also our tripartite mission of teaching, research, and outreach. That's not an exhaustive list, but I think those are the things at the top of my list at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Dave LILAK.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for the mulligan. Dave LILAK, MSU alum, came out of the graduate program in HR and LR some years back, was a longtime recruiter of HR talent from MSU and was on the program's advisory board for a while. I think what we're looking for, in my view, is a sitting current university president. I echo the idea that we want somebody who can show a track record in achieving world-class results at the university level with a focus on DEI. And I haven't heard it yet, maybe it's been implied, but I think in the post-Nassar environment, the whole SVSM needs to be kept evergreen, if that makes sense. We can't lose sight of what happened, and we need to be actually world-class there. How we do it, I couldn't reinforce more the idea of, given the nature of how President Stanley left, the idea of shared governance and transparency is essential. And I would urge the next president to use that MSU 2030 strategic plan as an excellent template for the future. Thank you.
You. Great.
Linda Keilman.
Thank you. And you said my name correctly. I've been at MSU in the College of Nursing for 30 years. I heard Dr. June mention land grant mission, and I had wanted to plug those words because we're the premier land grant mission in the country. And that means a lot. And we've had talk about our communities across the state and across the country. And we should be a role model for that and community engagement. and helping all individuals who want to come to this university, perhaps because of our land grant mission, to make sure that they're successful. And so many good things have been said. I would like to really say that the whole concept of MSU as a Spartan family and faculty helping to create good Spartan citizens of the world is very important. And I think that our community, especially on campus, needs to feel like a family. In the past, it has. And we've had to deal with a lot of issues that have been brought up, which certainly have impacted everybody on an emotional level. But MSU needs to feel like home again, that it's a home away from home when students come here or when faculty or staff move here to work because this is the place they want to be. And we all need to feel safe. We all need to feel heard. And we all need to feel like we belong. Because that's important in a family. And I think it's extremely important that we embrace diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice, and tag on the belonging so that we all feel that we are heard. And even though we might not all get our own way, we know that it's been listened to and it's been collaborative and it's been a thoughtful process in whatever decision is made. Thank you for the opportunity. And we look forward to the great work that is going to be done here at MSU for the future. Thank you.
Karen Kelly Blake.
Good morning. Thank you. So in my role as chair of the Faculty Senate and the University Steering Committee, I just want to be sure that we have a transparent and robust process, that this process is fair and equitable so that we can get the very best candidate here at Michigan State University. I want to make sure that the board understands that this person needs to operate independently of them, although recognizing that the board supervises the president. The board must understand that this role must be left to do its job, and that is the executive administration of this institution. I think it would also be important for the board to consider the valuable input that faculty and academic staff and other constituencies can provide to the recommendation for the next president, that we engage in a process where we are all represented in a meaningful and thoughtful way. I believe the University Council has passed and voted on a proposal that we have submitted to you all for your consideration. We would like for you to consider that strongly and ensure that faculty and academic staff will be fairly represented on this committee, so that the people who have the experience in conducting searches are involved in this process, so that it is fully transparent. And it would be great if there could be also some consideration of opening the process in some way, understanding that there are concerns about confidentiality of potential candidates, but also making room for there to be some space so that there can be additional engagement with the people of MSU community, of the MSU community. So I just want to thank you all for your time, and I yield.
Thank you.
That is it for the list right now. I'm sure some other hands will pop up. Oh,
Just,
Lee, June, you just raised your hand again. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Yeah. Just one other thing that occurs to me. I mean, obviously, we want this person to walk on water, but you know, Michigan State is unique in various ways, both historically and also we've gone through the Nassar experience. We've had the shootings on February 13th. And so I think also that person portfolio should be one who understands trauma and crisis management and can understand what maybe has happened at MSU and the after effects, and also is able to include those dimensions in his or her or they management style as we go forth. So I just going to add the element, Michigan State in many ways is very unique as an institution, should understand that uniqueness and can bring that to bear as they move forward in whatever direction that we need to take over the next X number of years.
Thank you. I have one last comment here, folks. We're coming to closer to our end, which is this. We would very much like you to think about who you might want to recommend. These may be people at Michigan State that you know and think very well of. You can make those recommendations confidential if you want, or you can tell us that you want your name associated with the recommendation. We'll honor either one. But we'll make sure that you have a pathway to make recommendations to us. Joanna and Debbie, can you make sure that we have a posting on the Michigan State site or on our website to show people how to recommend names? So you can check the IM website. We'll get that up shortly, or we can probably have a citation on the Michigan State website too. We don't yet have one, but we will before long. Stefan will help us do that. So please do start to think, though, about people that you know of, either at MSU or in other institutions you are connected to or worked at or graduated from, or we have friends. You know, your inquiries will be of great use in the search. We're eager to hear from you. So thanks very much. There may be others, or if there anyone else who wants to speak, we can turn to Chair Vassar for a few last words here.
Chair Vassar, do we have time for a few more comments? Okay. Karen Kelly Blake.
Thank you again. So my final comments would be that this really is low-hanging fruit, this opportunity to choose the next president of Michigan State University. As we all know, there is a no confidence vote in place for the board. This is an opportunity for us to walk away from chaos and to begin healing here at this university. So I think it is incumbent upon all of us to ensure that we are engaging in a transparent, a thoughtful, considerate, and robust process. And we want to make sure that folks are kept in the loop. We want to make sure that communications are clear, that they are explicit, so that there is no opportunity for a wrong inference or a negative inference. I think that will be key. And again, it is an opportunity for us to move away from the chaos, to move away from all of the bad that's happened in the past decade, and to move toward healing, because that, I believe, is what this community wants. That is what this community needs. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this morning.
Thank you. Very well said.
And we have Guo Chen.
Just very quickly, I want to echo that I would encourage everyone to think about the past 10 to 20 years of history at MSU. And I would also encourage the search committee or the selection committee and any other stakeholders to really listen or actively seek opinions from early career faculty members and the students groups, because we're really looking to someone who can lead the future of MSU. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's it for the hands.
Chair Vassar.
Thank you. Once again, we thank you for being here today. I've learned so much and share many of your priorities for our great institution and our leadership. I remind you that we have scheduled 6 more open forums, dates and times to be found on the presidential search website. Our next open forum for faculty and academic staff will be on Monday, April 24th from 6 to 7 p.m. You may register on our presidential search website, which is presidentialsearch.msu.edu. If there is anyone who was unable to speak or would prefer to do so in writing, please submit your responses and your feedback through our dedicated feedback form. I think that will be shared in our chat. My colleagues and I are grateful to you all for coming to lend your voices, and we truly value your input, and we plan to take your feedback into consideration as the process moves forward. Thank you all again for joining us today. We look forward to our continued collaboration.
Hi all, wish us luck. We'll need everything we can get. See you.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.